Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast for all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time. I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time to address whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life that you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. We are here because God is concerned about that which concerns you. So we are here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, brought to you by Fiji Water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock. The water collects in a natural artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is Earth's finest water. And for those of you who continue giving on the give segment of our app, and those of you that have made a monthly commitment to support the broadcast, we thank you for your support and your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here to address whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life you find challenging or difficult to navigate. You can call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. You can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships, whatever's in your heart, and whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. So I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your significant other always complains about everything that you do wrong, never responds to what you do well, only to what is not done the way she wants it done. So I'm going to begin by saying this. You know, I hear this a lot from people who say that they're in a marriage or a relationship where they don't feel encouraged. And I'm going to begin by saying this. You cannot depend on someone else for your happiness. That's the first thing. Because happiness comes from a peace of mind. So you can't depend on someone else. And I know this is taking you down a path, but first of all, you have to find your own peace so that you can have your own happiness. But most importantly, you're going to have to learn a principle that comes from the scripture, from the Bible, where, you know, the handbook of living our basic instructions before leaving earth. The Holy Bible tells us this. King David, who was king of Israel, he was the king, the ruler over all of Israel. The Bible says there came a point in time when King David, had to encourage himself. He had a lot going on in his life. Just as God allowed me to see in that secret place of your life, you have a lot going on. And you're very busy, and you're very committed to your career, and you are committed to your success. And that's a great thing. And as men, that's what we're supposed to be. So you said that your significant other is constantly complaining. Now, you didn't say in your communication, but God allowed me to see in that secret place of your life. So you two are cohabitating. You live together, and you're not married. However, you are sharing a life together. And you feel because she's complaining about everything you do wrong. So wrong can be perception. You know, you indicated in your communication also that it's not the way she wants things done. So her perception is if it's not the way she wants them done, then you're doing them wrong. You're doing it the wrong way. That there's a better way. What's important is that we do things the way that's most effective and most efficient. And if you feel that you're being effective and efficient, and you're getting the results that you desire to accomplish within your relationship, if you feel that you're getting the best result possible, now that doesn't mean that you can't take into consideration her recommendations. It just means that at some point a decision has to be made, and if you do something and you get the results, the best result possible, then you can't really worry about or concern yourself with her perception that it was done the wrong way, or her perception of when you're in the midst of doing something, it's not being done the way she wants it to do, so that makes it the wrong way. You've got to encourage yourself even in the process of what you're doing. Whatever you're doing, if you're doing it as unto the Lord, if you're doing it in a way that in the end, it's going to get the best result, not just a result, but the best result, then just encourage yourself in the process of doing what you're doing. You know, there's a passage in the scripture that says, you know, don't be weary in well-doing, just continue doing well. Because often, and this is for all of our listeners and viewers, often we find ourselves complaining about things that we really don't need to complain about. You know, so in our church last year, I announced to everyone that we were going to, I just concluded that everyone probably has, if they're like me and you know, in similar, have similar personalities, we all have a shoebox somewhere. Or you can just find a box. And that anytime you complain, you put $1 in the box. And one of the things that I shared with them is that at the end of the year, if you have money in the box, if you have a lot of money in the box, you're spending a lot of time complaining. If you have a minimal amount of money in the box, then you don't spend a lot of time complaining, but you do complain. If you have no money in the box, then you don't complain. And one of the things that I said is, you don't get to decide if you're complaining unless, if you're married, your spouse doesn't get to decide it. You don't get to decide if you're complaining, your spouse gets to decide if you're complaining. If you're single, you don't get to decide if you're complaining if someone else points out to you that you're complaining. And the reason is because every time we're complaining about something, God stops listening. The reality is, when we murmur and complain, that's what got the children of Israel all messed up, was their murmuring and complaining. So we have to make certain that as long as we're getting the best results in our lives, even if no one else is cheering you on, you've got to learn to encourage yourself. You've got to learn to say, I'm getting good results. And let me go a little further than that. I'm getting the best results possible that I can achieve. And if I'm getting those results, then it's not important if this is for all of our listeners and viewers, it's not important if my spouse or my significant other is encouraging me. I'll encourage myself. That's what you have to say to yourself. Because in the end, the goal is to get results. The goal is to get the best result that you can possibly accomplish. Now, I do want to be careful about one thing. You said your significant other complains about everything. So now I'm gonna go to the other side. That too can be perception. Everything means everything, means all. It implies all. So is she complaining about your ties? Is she complaining about the way you dress? Because that would include everything. And if she's not doing that, you can't just say it because that's what you're feeling right now. You can't just say it's everything. But you can say it's specific things. And if it's specific things, you have to encourage yourself while you're doing those things. Because sometimes we say things, and I'm going to go here. Sometimes we say things because they sound good. And sometimes we say things because it's just our perception, but it doesn't make it a fact. So, is she complaining about what shoes you're wearing today? Is she complaining about what socks you have on today? If she's not complaining about those things, she's not complaining about everything. But you're saying she's complaining about everything that you do wrong because it's not done the way she wants it done. Well, there's some things she's not going to complain about. So you can't say everything. But what you can say is specifically that she complains about things not being done the way that she thinks they should be done. And if she does that, just encourage yourself. The scripture says, King David encouraged himself in the Lord. As long as you know that you're doing right in the eyes of God and you're doing what God would have you to do and you're trying to do it to achieve the best result, then you need to continue doing what you're doing, encouraging yourself in the process, and don't be weary in well-doing, just keep doing well. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. If you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you can call the T-Mobile call or text line. You can call or text at 267-992-1424. We will move you over into our queue so that you can experience T-Mobile, America's largest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill. And if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are feeling stressed about everything. Here we go. And have no idea how to get rid of the stress. So let me say this again. To say everything is it's perception. Your perception is important. I'm going to get to the stress aspect, but when you say you're stressed, feeling stressed about everything, that implies everything, every hour of your day, every minute of your day, every hour of your day, every day of your week, and every week of your month is causing you stress. It cannot be everything, it's just your perception. What you have to say is that you're stressed about specific things. And then once you identify your stressors, you can begin to practice things that are going to, or implement best practices that are going to reduce and eliminate your stress. We have an old adage that we use, I'm too blessed to be stressed. First, you have to think about your blessings. First, you have to be thankful for your blessings. You have to be grateful for what God has already done in your life. And you have to find peace in those things first. And you have to meditate upon those things that are lovely, those things that are pure, those things that are a good report. You have to meditate upon the virtue of what God has done in your life. That's the first thing. And then you have to really say, okay, This is what is causing me stress. It's my children not being where I think they should be in their lives. That's a stressor for you. You didn't say this in your communication, but God allowed me to see in that secret place of your life. And all of us who have parents, there's an old adage for that also. Our children will keep us on our knees. They will keep us in prayer. But you have some stressors about what's going on in the life of your children, and particularly the life of your daughter right now. I got it. In addition to that, you have some personal stressors with regard to your siblings, 2 of them to be exact, and with the fact of your parents getting older, which is going to take me into another communication, so I want to make sure I don't overlap. But the truth of the matter is, you have some very specific stresses in your personal life. Now, you said everything. You're not stressed about your marriage because your marriage is solid. It's the 2 of you working together to get the best results, to get to the place that God has appointed for your lives. That's a great thing. Okay. So that's not a stressor for you. So you can't say everything is causing you stress. And the reason I'm pointing that out is because our perception about things will cause us additional stress, because you've decided that everything in your world is causing you stress. But it's not everything. It is certain things, specific things, very specific things from your personal life. And then you have stressors about your current career. And the stressors that you have there is that you're not working in the office. You understand the concept of out of sight, out of mind. And even though you do have Zoom calls, and even though you are working from home, you realize that you don't have the same relationships. Let me tell you what God has allowed me to see in that secret place of your life. You don't have the same relationship with your colleagues that some of your other colleagues have. Well, those are things you can work on. You can work on the relationship that you have with others. You can reach out. You can extend an olive branch. There are things that you can do to reduce your career stresses and eventually eliminate them. What we have to do is identify and this is for all of our listeners and viewers. There's so many people, I get so many communications from people saying they're stressed out. Some of this is COVID stress. But however, in your case, your stresses are very specific. So you have to stop looking at it as everything in your life is causing you stress, personally and professionally. Identify what the stressors are. Focus on reducing and eliminating the stress. Focus on, so let me touch on this. The concern that you have for your daughter right now is her personal life. You're concerned about her because she has chosen, and you didn't say this in your communication, but God allowed me to see in that secret place of your life. She has chosen an alternative lifestyle. You're concerned about that. Understandably concerned that she's going to make some choices that are not going to enhance the quality of her life. Understood. However, and let me tell you what that God showed me very clearly. She has chosen to live a bisexual lifestyle. You have no control over the choices that she desires to make in her personal life. The only thing you can do is love her and encourage her to continue moving forward in her life to get the best results that she can possibly achieve. You can encourage her to have a new relationship with the Lord. You can encourage her to really slow down her process of choosing the way she wants to live and do what comes natural for her to live a quality of life. You can encourage her to do those things, but you can't live her life. So she's going to make her own choices. So don't allow that to cause you additional stress. You might not be able to eliminate that stress, but you can certainly reduce the stress by not focusing on how she chooses to live her life. That's a choice that she has made, and she will live her life with that choice. The second thing is that you're concerned about your siblings. They too are grown adults. You cannot live their lives. And so you have to allow them to make their own decisions about the way they choose to live. Those are stresses that you can control, that you can reduce, and that you can eliminate from your life. And focus on your career. Focus on establishing new relationships with your colleagues. Focus on being the best version of yourself that you can possibly be, an asset added value to the company. Those are things you can control. Those are things that you can do to reduce and eliminate your stress. Let's be very clear. Your perception has to change that everything is causing you stress. It's not everything that's causing you stress. It is certain very specific things that are causing you stress that you can control. You can reduce the stress and eliminate stress from your life. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Terrett, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. If you are in any of those areas, you can stop in at the retail stores and shop during this sales season at Charles Terrett. If you are not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Terrett at ctshirts.com. They have everything that a man could possibly need: shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. If you are not in those areas, you can order from ctshirts.com, and they will ship and deliver right to your front door. And the White Company, located in London, the UK, they also have stores. They also have a store, I should say, on Fifth Avenue in New York. If you are in New York, stop in at the retail store. They have everything that you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. If you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are considering joining a church that is currently opened with protocol, I'm sure. However, your friend says that she will go to church with you if you can explore going from church to church. Okay, so let me say this to you. This is one I'm really going to be able to handle for you from the perspective of God speaking to you, and also from sharing with you what I understand about the church environment as a pastor. So I'm sure that's why you're asking this question. But let me first of all say this to you. You have to ask yourself, why is it so important for you to go to church with your friend if she wants to go exploring from church to church? Because what she's really stating to you is that she doesn't want to make a commitment to any particular church. Now, let me share a disclaimer. You're not in our area. Okay, that's the first thing. You're not in our region. However, I want to say this to you. It's important for you to decide to attend one church. You can explore the internet to look at other messages. You can explore the internet to listen to a word from well-known pastors. You can, that's feasible, but the Bible tells us that we need to fellowship with like-minded people. We need to fellowship with the body. And in that, you need to make a commitment because you are trying to refresh your relationship with not only with God, but the church body as a whole. So you found a church that you would like to attend. You found a church that you would like to become a member. They have reopened. Beautiful thing that we're able to reopen, even with protocol. What you've got to do is what is right for you, not for your friend. And the reason that I say that is because you can go to different churches and get fed a different cuisine. One thing that I always am very concerned about is people getting fed the wrong thing. You know, you can go to different restaurants and everything that you eat won't necessarily agree with you. And what I mean by that is you might only be ready for a church that lets you drink milk and from time to time gives you a little something more of substance. You might only be ready for that. But for you to grow entirely, for you to establish full growth, to grow up in this Christian faith, you need to be fed properly. And you need to make certain that whatever you're going to eat is not going to make you sick. And when I spiritually sick, spiritually ill, and going from place to place looking for a word or looking for a free meal is not going to help you grow. It's not going to give you everything that you possibly could need. You're going to get stuck on milk because you will hear different things, but you won't be able to digest it. You will eat different things, you won't be able to digest it. So if that's what your friend chooses to do, what she's really telling you is she's looking for something that has nothing to do with the Lord. She's taken the church and decided, I'm not going to hang out at the clubs any longer, but I'm going to hang out at the churches to see what I can find. There's something she's looking for specifically, and if I can just keep it real with you, God has allowed me to see in that secret place. She's looking for a man. The problem is, she's not going to find what she's looking for because she's never going to make a commitment long enough to establish the relationship that she's looking for. And the relationship she should be looking for is a relationship with the Lord. So I'm going to encourage you. The church that you're looking into joining is a word church. It's a church that's going to teach you. It's teaching you biblically. You really need to make the commitment that you desire to make to enhance your relationship with the Lord and to experience the fullness of God in your daily life. 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, is brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery